Welcome back to Kamen Review, episode number 288. We are here reviewing, excuse me, episode 37, Manipulate, of Kamen Rider Zeztz. So, pretty much the big thing with this episode, basically, it's like, okay, we're rebuilding the Zeztz driver. A lot of the episode is basically making a new Zeztz driver. So, Zero in the real world is still technically at Code Headquarters. He's not in the real world, he's not in the Zeztz control room. He's basically still at Code Headquarters in a interrogation room being chained up. So, basically they built this thing, and then of course they see that, Fujira basically is attacked by somebody, turns is actually Nagisa, and her name, like when Baku mentions his name to them, Baku, and of course, and just like, that is my phone. Yeah, that's because of the Code Sigma thing. And of course, also that Sig pops up in this episode. Well, at one point, they had to keep basically Zero awake because this is in the dream world. And also, when Sig shows up, Nanami sees Sig as a 2D character. Doesn't that find that kind of weird? Probably because it's really weird with him, because he was Age of Code. All he does basically is kind of knock out Zero by hitting his the Zero Rider a few times. That's sort of in the way he knocks him out, so they go back to sleep, so fix thing. Eventually, when he's being tortured awake, he's basically stopped 64%, but once he's knocked out, he pretty much finishes it up pretty quickly. And Five's basically kind of questioning in his head. He's doubting Three's intentions, what he's trying to do. So then, of course, basically Okada shows up and pretty much attacks, well, Baku. Baku doesn't have the Zero driver. He hasn't had the Zero driver in, at this point, 2 episodes. He basically gave up the previous one he had. He just left at the location. My guess is maybe 3 even picked up. So then, of course, they finish the thing, and of course, they ride out. Of course, Five's ordered to infiltrate the dream. And then, of course, he's ordered to stop Bot, and then, of course, Zero stops him. Actually, Five stops Zero. And then, of course, like, I'm Code's guard dog, and then he just reaches into his shirt. You're thinking, oh, he's pulling out a gun? No, he pulls out, it's real in the flashback, he pulls out a capsule ball. Shock. And basically, Baku gets his hands on it after getting back, transform back into the default Zeztz mode, which, this interesting. So, he has not assumed this mode in quite a while. And you're probably thinking, when was the last time he actually, well, used this default mode? This was the first time he's used it since episode 32. Like, really? Yeah, he has not used since episode 32, which I find that interesting. Yep. Yeah, so, and of course, basically, Okada is freed, and of course, basically, I think it's Fujo remembers the whole thing about nightmares. Don't know what they look like, but he does remember the whole conversation he had with Okada, which kind of wakes him up. It's kind of the fact that the code tips might be undone in his head, but, and of course, Baku hasn't told Najima that her friend is dead. Again. Yeah, she died by Zero by being turned into an ink painting. Yes. But definitely looks like that Baku and Okada be working together as partners, which is interesting. So now you're probably thinking, is Okada a writer? He is. He is indeed a writer. Mm-hmm. So now basically he was basically under control, but now he is not. Yeah, pretty much he got brainwashed like last episode, and then basically now he's... And now he's basically become a partner. Well, and the series itself doesn't have many episodes left to go. No. At this point, by the way, also in the case of the writer Nox form, of course, he last used the previous episode, and before the last episode, last time he used the default mode for his Rider Nox form, Okada last used this form back in episode 29 of the show. Yeah, 29. Now, do you know who's actually not in this episode? Surprisingly, the lady. Yeah, she is not in this episode. Like, really? Yeah, she was in the last episode. But she was absent for 35. She's been in or out, per se. But great episode overall. And we have only 13 more episodes left to go. And then we're done. Yep, we're done. Now, I have heard about this movie for Zeztz, which has not been released yet. Now, next week's episode is known as Reform. I did hear something also that apparently get this. Apparently there's planned to be a team movie between Zeztz and Super Spaceship Gam Infinity, which is interesting. That's what I've heard anyways. And also the fact that the very next Kamen Rider series, they have confirmed this, is going to be called Myth. Also, the stage show that Zeztz has, get this, it's actually online. Yeah, it's actually on YouTube, which is quite interesting to say the least. Yep. Oh, and also in Japan, they've already released the first 16 episodes in Japan on Blu-ray back in April. 1732, which is the previous episodes for this one. That's released in August. The third one, probably the remainder of the series, probably it's going to release at some point maybe this year. Also, something interesting though. So, this is the first Kamen Rider series to not have a DVD release. Yeah, first one. So, it looks like that Gob is the last one. So apparently, it's all Blu-ray. No. Yeah, no DVDs. I found that interesting. Yep. But yeah, that's pretty much it for today's video. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, notifications. I don't have time to do any more videos tonight, so I'll see you all tomorrow for Case Closed, Super Spaceship Gam Infinity, and Witch Handler, along with fives. Come on, fives. Okay, next video tomorrow. Bye.